everybody. This is Dan coming to you barely alive from Japan. And the reason why I'm barely alive is, as I was telling Joe, I worked out for the first time in years and I am really, really out of shape. And I thought I was going to have an accident, like an old people accident, but I didn't. I got through a whole 45 minutes of cardio without having to call for emergency services. And, well, now I'm a better man for it. But anyway, yeah. I mean, well, with me, as you might have noticed, I have Joe and Alex joining for the AMA. Say hi to everybody, Joe. Say hi to everybody, Alex.
Nice to be here, everybody. Looking forward to questions.
Hi, everyone. My pleasure to be here again. Maybe next time I will skip the AMA because it seems there are a lot of good candidates. Right. So yeah, for this AMA, we had like 5 maybe, right? People willing to join.
Yeah, but most of them are QX, and we all know where that leads. So I think.
Yeah, also maybe drunk, but still.
Yeah.
Would be good to get him on board.
Listen. I think people love it when you join the AMA. So don't knock it. Don't knock it. I think it's good to have you here. All right. So what's been happening this week? So as some of you might have seen, we've been kind of ramping up the next iteration of Rosen. And so myself and the Zengate team, more of the Zengate team, and the Rosen team have been kind of working on the next iteration, the EVM iteration. And so just getting things ready for that. As you know, we have submitted a Fund 11 proposal on the Cardano Catalyst for getting funding for rolling out the EVM part of Rosen. I believe is going to be an amazing addition to both of the ecosystems, all the ecosystems involved. And yeah, I'm just really happy that we're finally there. We've been talking about it for a long time, and Cardano is blossoming. Ergo Cardano bridge is blossoming, and now to branch out into EVM is going to be amazing. It's going to bring a lot of opportunity for us, just cross chain between Cardano, Ergo, and EVM, and Ethereum, and just kind of give us the ability to really participate in all these different ecosystems. So it's really awesome, I think. On the side of exchanges, there's a bit of a sabbatical this week, or not sabbatical, a bit of a break this week from one of them, but I should be able to pick up the talk next week. Some people ask me what they are. I'm not actually under NDA, but I don't like to talk about specifics or specific exchanges until there is a deal. Is just kind of business etiquette. But I can give you details, and like I said, we're still kind of trying to figure out what's best to do. Answers take a little bit of time, so it's a slow process, but it is still being engaged. So and like I said, the bulk of the work has been the Rosen work, and I'm very happy about that. So yeah, how about yourself, Joe? What have you been up to? I mean, you're obviously working with us on Rosen, but what else has been happening?
Well, it's been a great week for Ergo videos that I'm not in, right? And that's always a treat because I actually watch them. So having this summit, I gotta give a shout out to everybody that participated, Alex included. Not all the videos are live yet, but there's been a lot of great content, great conversations. Exciting, things to watch in the ecosystem. That's also happening with the dev update, right? That's going to drop on Sunday. And it's been really great. I started those solo, and that was just painful, like sit in the basement and then talk to yourself, right? And so now I've actually, there less often, and I can, watch and, enjoy these videos instead of suffer through them. So Big shout out to the community and everybody that showed up for the dev updates. Those of you that want to follow the latest and greatest, you can also hop in the Discord channel if you want to read it yourself, or you can wait for, perhaps the podcast video, that media to come out. And I love seeing that type of engagement from the ecosystem, right? As more people are taking more control, power, putting their thoughts, ideas, builds out there. It's a powerful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've actually been doing quite a few videos myself. You might have seen my video in, my summit video. I'm actually, once me and QX, our trajectories align, I was actually going to make another video for the summit, just kind of a last minute addition. Hopefully we can put it in there. If not, I'll just put it out. Again, maybe kind of an afterthought for after the summit if it doesn't happen within the allotted time for the summit. But again, yeah, there's more to add. So yeah, hopefully we'll be making this in the next day or so and getting it out to you guys. Alex, what has been happening with you?
Like 100 things at the same time. So yeah, did the data dev update video with QX and enjoy the Ergo Summit with 2 videos of mine. So for now, in regards with video production, let's say, so my plan is to do another video on chain cache because, well, there is significant progress since the last video. And then what else? So in regards with development, releasing 5.0.19, not released right now. Planning, Sigma 6.0 roadmap. Yeah, I think, timeline can be provided. Well, Roth, but still, maybe in a couple of weeks. Then, what else? So, doing writing on possible sidechain designs. Well, this is follow-up for the Ergo Hack project, and one of videos of mine is covering it, and it will be released in less than 2 hours. So yeah, stay tuned. And currently working on some continuation of that work, and actually thinking maybe to do another kind of personal hackathon to do some prototype, maybe of sublog based sidechain. Need to find some time for that. All right. A lot of good discussions recently on improving privacy, doing silent payments, BIP, Bitcoin improvement proposal on top of Ergo, in addition to stealth payments. Reviewing EAPs, EAP 44 got merged, and support for it in Nautilus is coming. So this EAP is about signing arbitrary data, arbitrary messages, which would be helpful in many protocols, right? So when you need for some kind of authorization, before, for example, receiving payment, or if you just need to get a proof of identity. So, for example, a signature on some message was requested from one of Satoshi imposters, namely Craig Wright, right? During all that shit show, let's say, involving him. A lot of possible use cases. well, in most cases, probably more positive than this example with Craig Wright. All right. So, what else? Also, yeah, started another raffle to collect funds to provide interest-free loans to a Kenyan cooperative in Kakuma. So, yeah, well, there is a plan to establish a DAO, right, for, well, follow-up efforts in charity in regards with this cooperative, and not only so, well, participants in previous and these also raffle will be rewarded with DAO tokens, right? And well, my plan is to call this DAO Good Things DAO. It will be Paideia based. So then I'm closely tracking Paideia progress in doing custom DAOs, and it seems, well, one custom DAO is already under testing by Sigmanauts. So 6 DAO is already under testing. Then, well, we are preparing for private testing of Dexy. There is private testing of Gleon going on, and then, yeah, probably about the same time, public testing will be started for both. Yeah, that's probably more or less it for the week past, and yeah, well, pretty a lot, I think.
Nice. Like you said, about 100 things. Quite a few things happening.
Indeed,
That's
yeah,
good.
exactly.
That's good. We actually have a question here. I think it might be a good question to start with. So this one is from Ursa Minor 2010, and this is a question for you, Kushti. How did you meet the folks in Kenya? What are they doing with the money from the loans? Well, so what happens? I mean, like, what are they utilizing the loans for over there?
All right. So, well, how did we find them? It was well, some Cardano stake and pool operator. Yeah, I've forgotten VQNT, probably, or something like that.
Yeah, in partnership with Chris Ray.
Let me check. Yeah, so they were in touch with that community in Kenya, well, through some Christian missionary working in Kenya, and then they got in touch with Chris Ray, and well, that's how we started to use Chris Ray's XLAY platform for providing loans initially, just to test the platform. But well, as loans been repaid, so things are going quite well. So well, we are extending operations here. And what they are doing, so actually there are a lot of proposals, right? Well, mostly I suppose in regards with local trading, so well, improving local shops and so on. Well, increasing output from local firms, and things like that. So, small local trading and production. And actually, well, there is quite bad work from our side, probably on covering it. So actually, they're providing photos. So what's done with loans, right? How shops been improved and so on. Yeah, well. Not sure about Chris, but yeah, I'm bets in marketing and covering such stuff. So happily, currently there are some Sigmanauts which are willing to do that. So maybe then there will be some reports published on how loans already provided been used. So, well, what are visual differences, right, with the previous state? And yeah, so all the loans are repaid, right? So they're interest free, but yeah, money coming back, so can be used to provide small loans, and this is quite good, right? So there is some money flow which is basically not leaving the community, right? But yeah, well, it's also constantly circulating in comparison, in contrast with one-shot charity efforts, right? And yeah, maybe in future we can do more experiments, well, with more tooling available. So already, we instructed the cooperative with multi-sig, so provided some guidance on using multi-sig, and well, it seems they're using Minotaur multi-sig even. Then in cooperative setting that could be quite useful, right, for joint funds management and so on. And then with more tooling, so we will propose maybe more. And well, at some point, I'm willing to visit folks, but yeah, it's hard to find time for such a trip, to be honest, because yeah, well, it takes actually quite a lot of time to get there and then back. Yeah, let's see. Sorry. And such tooling and well, in general, more tooling in providing accessible loans and well, doing complementary currencies and so on. So I think it's getting more and more needed around the globe, right, these days. So. Well, I found a message in one of crypto groups right today that some regions in Argentina are now going to issue local currencies, but there are usual problems with overprinting money and so on. Historically even because that happened in Argentina back in 2001. And yeah, so they are considering different blockchain solutions and so on. So, well, it's maybe a little bit sad that, the tooling is not, appearing at a fast pace, right? But yeah, well, actually, a lot of things to get done to get proper tooling, right? So you need for proper foundations first and so on, right? And for understanding and presenting how solid are the foundations, so know your assumptions framework and so on. So yeah, lots of work here. So thanks Sigmanauts for willing to help here. And maybe DAO also would provide a lot of help, hopefully. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Joe,
you were saying something,
ahead.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
I was going to add that once the proper foundations are in place, right? Once you have the, let's say, more mature DAO in place, you have fund management in place. It's very interesting to look at how you can explore different mechanisms for bootstrapping treasuries, right? I'll use the example like in the nonprofit world off chain. Sometimes you'll have like art where a portion of the sales goes towards a particular cause, right? It probably wouldn't be that hard even to create, some sort of meme coin or trading pair where, perhaps a tax or a percentage went to bootstrap that treasury, right? I think there's a lot of creative ways that once that foundation is in place, where we can kind of, perhaps even, build some new, what is the word, Degen 5 framework, right? That a portion of the proceeds, one of the fee mechanisms goes towards these type of, I guess, general good oriented frameworks on Ergo. I would love to explore that once we get, let's say, proper fund management and DAO tooling in place, because I think there's a lot of that we could do as a community that potentially could be fun, could have profit incentive, and actually do good things off chain, which would be amazing. I'm here for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We got a question. We got a few questions actually about Rosen. Okay. Well, here's one that's been asked a couple of times on here. So I'll pick the first one that was asked. When will Rosen Light end and proper Rosen be? Well, okay. I think what the big three is trying to say is when will the full suite Rosen launch and start bringing us big volume?
Sure. So right now we're in what's called the Rosen Light era. The Rosen Light era was all about bridge stability, refining processes, putting them in place, as well as, putting this in a live environment and, seeing what needs to be improved and where, right? So we've gone through the process of kind of the initial launch. The second thing we did was we added 2 of the meme coins that helped us on testnet. We're going to go through a process of adding assets. There was kind of a teaser that was announced on Twitter and in the Telegram yesterday, I believe. And so our goal with that is to actually refine the process of how assets are listed, right? So we can look at like a traditional exchange, right? You usually have a period where you kind of have a pre-announcement, some marketing. Then you have liquidity provision where, liquidity is put in place in the exchange, right? Then the next step is going to be the UI is updated and traders can start interacting live. And then you usually have some post-listing marketing, whether it's articles, AMAs, depends on the exchange and their process, right? And so the goal of that is to kind of adequately highlight the benefit of each project that lists, okay? And so for Rosen, we're trying to kind of put in place a similar mechanism. I don't necessarily think there's a need here to reinvent the wheel. And so what we'll find is in the coming next few weeks, we'll start to see that process go through iterative rollouts, right? And, we'll kind of get that process together. Now, in parallel, we did hit the data limit in terms of watchers in a single box, which was 77. That's currently being worked on in parallel with ETH and Bitcoin research. That's a known solution where you can kind of abstract the data across multiple boxes and increase that limit. So that's currently ongoing. Once that's done, it will be audited and will be tested. So we still have some cleanup to do from the initial launch that will assist us to scale. But, the important thing, in my opinion, is getting down and refining kind of the processes that we need to go through, right? I think it's a good idea to bootstrap those instead of just, go live and go hard and then run into problems. I would like it to be something that gains momentum as it scales. So that kind of initial process is going to be important for us to refine, work with the watchers, and we also have some governance decisions to make. That's once the DAO tooling does improve. not gonna say anything about Paideia. As I've already harassed Louis enough. But yeah, once that's out, we'll have a better foundation for governance decisions, and that's going to be an important discussion long term in terms of scaling. I would say that, in my opinion, Rosen Light should probably end once that data threshold, the solution for it is in place. What am I going to say? 2 weeks. Let's see. We building, testing, auditing, etc.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Joe, QX has reminded you that you have promised ErgoCon Denver soon.
No, ErgoCon, the Colorado Springs, man. I stay away from Denver. Too many goddamn people there.
Yeah. So I think QX is once again
Yeah,
completely
I do have a facility that I work with that I can get. It's not the biggest space in the world, but it is downtown. It does fit 100+ people. It's something we could potentially get. Alcohol permit, food truck, the whole shebang. It's interesting. A lot of the crypto conferences that I've been to, the barrier of entry is too damn high, in my opinion, right? In terms of like, you end up, I don't know. I always enjoy the general public the most, right? Like the small miner, the average user. I always love those discussions, and sometimes when the barrier of entry is too high, it's more like a professional conference, right? And a lot of the times I get the greatest insight and feedback from like the general public, general user, and ultimately that's who we're trying to attract with these systems. So I don't want it to be one of those things where you need an arm and a leg to get in, but definitely doable. I need to work with the Sigmanauts. I know that there's been some excitement and support there, and if we get the dates locked in with the Sigmanauts, we'll release it and we'll do it. Do like a weekend event, hopefully have some food. It'll be good.
Nice. Here's a good question for Kushti. So, Kushti, can you give us an update on subblocks? How's research going so far?
So currently, I'm considering designs for subblock based sidechains, right? And based on that, rollout plan could be considered, right? So, I think there are different pieces here, right, which can be deployed sequentially. So then, it would help with improving quality, right, testing in isolation, and so on. So let's see. So today there will be a sidechains Ergo hack project presentation, right? And maybe after that I will jump on the Telegram group, the main Telegram group, and we may have a small chat. But later, like I don't know, like 9 p.m. UTC, something like that. Then based on that, maybe we can consider some big community chat, right, properly announced and so on. Let's do this. And there are some writings in progress on subblock-based sidechains, and I'm also thinking about doing some prototyping codes around releasing the documents. It's in progress. Yeah, well, if you are willing to know more details, let's have a chat in the main group if possible.
Excellent, excellent. Sounds like there's a lot of progress happening there, which is good. Let's see. All right, so here is a question, Dan. Just checking if you're still hopeful for Ergo to hit top 20. In the past year, we only been dropping in ranks when it comes to MC. So I think the last few times somebody asked a question like this, I was very very adamant about explaining exactly what it means for me to be in the top 20. As you all know, I'm skeptical of market caps. Market caps can be manipulated. It is not a very good metric, especially in the world of VC pump controlled pseudo crypto chains or pseudo blockchains, where these numbers are just basically somebody. Oh, by the way, we just discovered we had 8 billion more coins or whatever other bullshit that these guys come up with. I mean, it's not a good metric, and that's number one. Now, I'm not saying that it's useless, but it is, first of all, it's not something to specifically focus on and the only thing to be focused on. What I mean for Ergo to be in the top 20 is, yeah, of course, by market cap, yes, but also by development activity, by innovation, by community, okay, by influx of community, by community growth. I mean, there's a lot of different metrics that really kind of help quantify impact and growth and size of a blockchain ecosystem. And yes, I do believe that Ergo is going to hit the top 20. He's going to hit top 20 in all those things, because I think that all the roots are there. The movement is there. The innovation is there. The community is there. And it's just a matter of time. And, it's a funny thing about crypto is that, these things can happen overnight. We can be, quote unquote, struggling for notoriety for 5 years, and all of a sudden a couple of market movements will put us in the top 20 market cap wise. Now, then it's going to be, where do we go from there? How do we sustain? How do we value in on that particular position? And again, it's all about being set up on all fronts. It's about the resilience of the ecosystem, and I think that the Ergo ecosystem is highly resilient. So I do believe, and I am hopeful that we will. It's not that I'm hopeful. I believe that we have the potential to be up there and across the entire spectrum of what I mentioned. And I think that we will get there. It will take time, but we are on the right track. All right, let's go to another question here. Let's see. I saw a really nice one from Augustus Kent, I believe. Let's see. Anyway, here it is. Okay, so Augustus Kent asks, has Rosen gotten the attention it deserves from a Cardano side and a wider crypto audience? What can be done to spread maximum awareness for future ETH connections as well, or also? Well, so I think I'll go to Joe on this. What do you think can be done?
Well, I let's start from like first question. Has Rosen gotten the attention that it deserves? I don't know if I agree with the word deserve. I think that it's built well. There's a big focus on the how. A lot of people will look at systems in crypto and they'll say, well, what can it do? Right. And they don't necessarily care about that, how things work. right? Like you can do a lot of great and interesting things in very sketchy ways in closed source environments with a lot of attack vectors, right? And I do think that Rosen, in terms of like the design principles, is something that continuously should be highlighted because it represents a system that has good assumptions of trust, right? Now, you can say that. What's ultimately going to be the determining factor? Time, right? I would say time and value are going to be what creates attention and recognition throughout, the crypto space. Yeah, I can use the example. Usually people will say, well, other bridges exist, so why do we need another one, right? As there's already something that does that, and they don't really necessarily care how things are done, which, in my opinion, is kind of a catastrophically poor way to approach assumptions. Like, what matters is what's under the hood, the security assumptions of the system, because you're ultimately talking about securing value. And I can look at like 2022 was a very humbling year when it comes to bridges in terms of the amount of net value that was lost, right? So I don't think that respect is given. I think it's earned. And then the question is, how do we earn, respect, recognition? And ultimately, when we're talking about a product that is, part of the intention of design was to empower projects, right? Because projects usually have a great disadvantage in this space. In terms of market access. So if we can create the proper, let's say product market fit where it comes, with projects building, marketing, building community, building access to liquidity, that's a useful tool. And then, the fact that it's built on solid foundations in terms of the how, I think that's ultimately how we get there. The thing with crypto is attention is short. Right. Like I hate to use the analogy of raccoons chasing shiny objects, but, even if we get into like the, previous question, like there's so much raccooning in the crypto space that it makes me laugh sometimes where, someone will, I don't know. I would say there's a lot of people out there that actively promote crypto that have no idea what the hell they're talking about. They buy something on an exchange and then it's the greatest product in the world that they've never used, right? They have no ecosystem experience. They have no infrastructure. They probably never even withdrawn from a centralized exchange, but they're a crypto bro. And so, now they have the greatest moon face melter, just raccoon fucking nonsense. And ultimately, I think if this space is going to deliver anything valuable, we have to focus on the how it works, right? Because that's where resilience comes in. That's where trust assumptions matter. That's why this space exists, not necessarily for all the raccooning. And, there's a lot of people out there that are like, hey, Ergo's not as shiny. So it's the raccoons aren't attracted. It's dead. And that's okay. Those type of people will come and go. They have short attention spans.
Yeah, I mean, I ran across this with a few quote unquote influencers. It's like, well, what is the point of Ergo? What is the point? I mean, just like I don't understand what is the point. Why don't you just build it on chain X? And it's like, well, I mean, I can try to explain it to you, and maybe there is something that has, maybe there's something can be done to better marketing, but or better, I guess, delivery of value proposition. But in the end, a lot of it is just kind of like numbers don't go up with the rest of the numbers that are going up. It must be bad.
Well, when you're talking about cryptography, advanced networking, trust assumptions, these are nerdy topics. It's just the truth. Like, they're not necessarily the sexiest thing, but the how matter, right?
No, they matter. Like, look, the point here is that they're nerdy and they're boring until they're not. Until you get ripped off, and it's like, well, yeah, but if you use this product and this chain and with these security assumptions, that wouldn't have happened because we thought about this. Oh, well, now that's the best thing since sliced bread. And I've always been a fan of what you guys do. And I love, love, love all this nerdy shit. And yeah, like I said, nobody cares until everybody cares. I mean, that's how crypto is. That's how I guess the world is, but specifically crypto. And as you said, like it's raccooning,
You don't
the same.
need privacy. You don't need privacy. You don't need resilient systems until you do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Who cares about
You don't need
decentralization?
security assumptions until after you got a reentrancy attack or some sort of bug and all the funds are gone and everyone's saying, well, what happened, right?
Well, who cares about decentralization?
We're not as exciting as some ecosystems like EVM where there's always drama and hacks and, massive valuations running around. It's kind of slower, steadier, um, less
Not
drama.
as sexy. It's not as sexy, but like I said, it's not sexy until it's sexy because you got screwed because the other guys didn't take care of you, because the other tech didn't take care of you, because that tech was grounded in bullshit. Was grounded in move fast and break things instead of move right and don't break things. you know yeah, so it's just a matter of, and the same with market caps. You're low until you're flying high, and it could happen in crypto in a day. But then what? What happens? I mean, yeah, a bunch of people that are holding it can cash out and buy expensive shit, and then what? Where do you take it from there? Yeah, I just think that it's a topic that it's never going to be it's never going to be satisfied, right? There's always going to be somebody raccooning. There's always going to be somebody chasing the pump. There's always going to be those people that are just not really, they're into it, but they're into it for all the wrong reasons.
I look at it in terms of time horizons, right? I can say myself, I can say Alex, I can say you. If we're building something and we're putting a product in place, we're not necessarily thinking about today, right? As where are we moving in a year? Where are we moving in, 5 years, right? And then there you have other people where their time perspective is on, the minute chart, the 5-minute chart, the 10-minute chart. And there's always going to be that disconnect, right? So I think having kind of things grounded in the longer term time perspective is definitely where you want your core team to be, because if they're looking at the 5-minute chart, you're in trouble.
Well, this is actually something that I've recently, because, we're talking about the launch of the Palm economy. And so we're talking to various different people that are going to be helping launch the Palm economy. And so we were just talking about being listed on exchanges, and the people that they're going to be working with us to get us listed. They were just kind of telling us, you have to understand that once you start dealing with guys like the exchanges, and you start dealing with that particular aspect of the community, you're dealing with people who think in 30-day intervals. They don't think long term. They don't think, they don't think in 5-year, 5 year. They think 30-day intervals. That's all they know. And that's what you have to be ready for. And that's not going to really change until it does, And so it's it's just something to I guess you have to learn to accept it, but not be okay with it.
Well, I think it's just a matter of market perspective versus engineering perspective. From the engineering perspective, you want products where time shows strong designs and you build things that last, are built on solid foundations. You can build things on top of them, around them, and you put in place long-term foundations. That takes time, right? There's no cheating that, versus short-term, time horizons are what they are. And it's a volatile space. And so a lot of people are always, chasing the elusive pump, right? That 5-minute or short interval period. And that's fine. It's, that volatility is an asset to this space. Other times, it's just, I don't know, circus. It's crypto, baby.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right.
And so I think it's
Yeah.
this is a good
Yeah.
place to
Sorry.
kind of leave it off on.
Yeah. So sorry. So I can add actually. So about Rosen Bridge and its place. So I think yeah, it's just the beginning because still most of value proposition is not realized, right? So uh, still Cardano community will face with Ergo stable coins, right? So CQSD and so on, and also Ergo ecosystem. So some unique applications, right? Such as privacy preserving applications, for example. Would be useful for ADA holders, maybe big holders, right? Some whales are always willing to remain anonymous. And then, yeah, also other tools. So, Rick McCracken, for example, is playing with options, right? On Ergo, well backed by RS ADA. And covering his experiments, and yeah, this is great. And there are also bonds, right? And some bonds now are connected with Rosen Bridge, and so on. So we already think, and we will see for more definitely in future how Rosen and its assets are becoming a part of DeFi Lego on both Ergo and Cardano blockchains. So yeah, this already started, but still just baby steps done. So I think interesting times ahead, most interesting
definitely.
times ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, I'm really psyched about branching out into EVM. I'm really psyched about the later iterations that we're going to have with Binance, with other chains. I mean, it's just the possibilities are almost virtually limitless with Rosen. And I mean, I think that I mean, this is what happens when you just really have good, solid tech. It speaks for itself. And I think that is why the Cardano community engaged so well with the Rosen team and the Rosen initiative. And I think that there are other communities that are going to engage just as well. I think there are going to be quite a few people in the EVM communities that will see this innovation as a huge value add for what they're doing, and the ability to be in our ecosystems as well as value as well. And so I just can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. So for EVM bridge, so for Ethereum, another proof of work cryptocurrency, and yeah, we have a lot of Ergonauts from my observations in Ethereum community, and a lot of Ethereans in Ergo community. So for Ethereum, quite soon after EVM been launched, Uniswap is the biggest exchange, right? So, by volume, it's far ahead of Gate.io and other exchanges Ethereum is listed on. And yeah, so Ergo has a bit more of exchanges. But still, I wouldn't be surprised to see Uniswap, the biggest Ergo exchange, in 2024, right? So, I can make such a prediction, and let's see. But Yeah, so this volume is real, right? So unlike centralized exchanges with a lot of dirty games with volumes and so on, wash trading and so on. So on a DEX, it's quite costly to do wash trading, right? So then we may assume that much less wash trading there, right? So volume is definitely more real. For EVM part, yeah, we can expect a large influx of liquidity, and again, interesting times ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Exciting times ahead. All right, guys, I think this is a good place to leave it off for today. Got a lot of information out there, answered a lot of really good questions. And once again, if you guys have any other questions that you would like to ask and you have not been able to get answered during the AMA, this happens every week, same time, same channel. And of course, you can always reach out to us through Telegram, through social media. We're around, so please don't hesitate. All right, so I guess this is where we leave you for this week. And so this is Dan, barely alive from Japan, signing off, and we will see you next week.
Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy the summit videos.
See ya, guys. So, my video on sidechains will be released in 1 hour, and see you later over the Telegram, and yeah, maybe the next week during another MA. But let's see. So we have a lot of good candidates. So why not to rotate the team here, as we are doing for dev update.
Thanks, everyone.